Hey everyone, welcome to the April 2026 Seller Workshop. And I am here to answer all the questions that my sellers have submitted to me because they're getting ready to go on market. Some of them have already been on market and have tasted the sweet fruits of the spring market. And now I'm coming to you to bring you the data, the real data that you need to know if you are considering going on the market soon, maybe this summer. Maybe you're waiting until this fall and you just want to know what's really been happening. So I'm going to read for you some of the stats that have been happening in first the Cary, Apex, Morrisville area. So we're going to start with that. We're going to compare March 2025 to March 2026 so that you can see how much it has changed. All right, so how many new listings did we have in 2026? We are up 10.9% from last year for a total of 548 listings across the three towns. Now, the next more important thing is how long have the houses been sitting on the market compared to last year? And that's a big one because some neighborhoods, specific neighborhoods, are only seeing 2 to 3 days on market. Many of my listings have been like that. Others are sitting longer, and people are wondering what the heck is going on. So, across the three towns, the days on market have actually gone up 30.4% for a total of 30 days average on market. Okay, so 30 days is actually what we are going to call an even market, right? It's not a buyer's market, it's not a seller's market. It's stable, and that's kind of what we're seeing in a lot of the different areas. Let's not forget that Apex, many parts of Apex, resale homes are competing with new construction. So those days on market, they're kind of increased a little bit more than people would like to see. Many of the buyers that are out there are opting for new construction, even if it's townhomes, because of the incentives that the builders are providing. So it is definitely increasing the days on markets in certain areas. Nothing that we can do about that. But as I mentioned, in very specific areas, those days on market are way lower. Now, let's look then in 27513. I happen to live in 27513. I do tons of listings in 27513. So let's take a look at what the data specifically here is. And if you want to know what the data is for your neighborhood, your area, whatever the case may be, let me know, drop a comment below, DM me, and I will get you the information that you need because you going on the market need to have all of the information in front of you before making any decisions on list price or anything like that. Okay. So for 27513, the new listings 2026 compared to 2025 is up 22.8%. So on an average of 70 total. Okay. The days on market, that is 12 total compared to 3 total last year. So in 27513, most of the zip code was selling in 3 days average last year. So that's from the time it went on the market to the time it went pending. That's how many days on market it was. 3 last year. This year, 12. Definitely a change. People are still waiting. There are so many both political and economic factors that are playing into this. Some buyers are still hesitant. I'm still going to say that it is even more neighborhood specific when it comes to days on market, which is why you need to know what it is specifically for you when you get ready to list. Now, the median sales price is $493 currently. And the showings to pending. So that means like on average, how many showings did it take for homes to go from on market to pending? And that's around 14. So even if it's a repeat showing, it was taking 14 different showings in order to get to that pending status. And how many showings on average did the listing see? This sounds a little weird, but it's 8. So We just need to understand when we're going into a scenario, where were the list prices? What did it actually sell for based on the list price? How many days on market did they sit? How many showings to pending and so forth? This data is all going to mean a lot when it comes to choosing your list price. As soon as you price too high, you could really be increasing your days on market, how many showings it's going to take to get to pending, and so forth. I know so many sellers are tempted to take the last sales price that closed in the neighborhood, just let's say a couple weeks ago, and turn around and list at that price. What you have to remember is that they didn't start at that price. They started where the neighborhood, let's say, should be $699. Let's pick that number. And then it closed at, let's say, $710, as my neighbor's house across the street did when it finally closed. And that was 3 days on market. The market itself, the buyers, determined that that home was worth more than the $699. Then when the next house goes on the market, they may be really tempted to list at that $710 price, but the market may not decide that your home is worth that much. So there are going to be so many different factors that we will look at when pricing your home to get it right. Now, something else that my poor sellers have literally been struggling with when we get the houses ready is, understanding that buyers are not watching their children when they walk around their house. I know it sounds crazy. Watch your darn kids, buyers, but they don't. And the kids are running around many times and they're touching things. A parent is paying attention to the realtor or to what they're looking at and not realizing that the kids have their hands all over everything. And you know what? Some of the things that tend to disappear when you are listing your home are those great remotes for your fans and your lights, your mouse for your computer. That may not go missing, but it might be not where you were expecting when you get home and so forth. So I'm just letting you know, when you go to list a house, if you're still living there, can you do me the favor of putting things away where little hands can't reach them? Because it is one of the biggest annoyances for my sellers when they come back, or let's say when they go to close on the house and those remotes are all missing. Y'all, buyers need to watch their kids, but don't expect that they do. Expectations, man, keep them low with the buyers. Now, when we are actually getting ready to market the house right now, man, so many things are changing regarding marketing. So much is happening in the online space. Understanding that just because we have taken a video tour of your home does not mean that Zillow is going to publish it. There are different modes of video tours for the different listing sites, and they all want you to use theirs. The most important thing is that your house is so super fabulous photo ready from the start. You need to wow them with the first 5 photos that will appear on Zillow and the other websites. They need to feel those photos. And I'm telling you right now, if they are not fabulous, people will swipe past them because what they're looking for is that showstopper that they want to go see. And it's going to attract more attention than those other listings that were taken with an iPhone. I can't even stand it when people are trying to charge 700, 800,000 for a home and they're sitting there with iPhone photos. No, thank you. You need to have it beautifully staged. It must look bright and welcoming and clean and modern and all of the stuff in those photos. And then when they walk in the house, I want them to feel that as well. As soon as they walk in your home, they should feel the same way, if not better, that they did when they saw those photos online. And that's only going to be accomplished if, y'all hear me say this a lot, if you work with a stager, if you have the house positioned properly for the current buyer that is for your market. So, for example, if you live in a neighborhood where maybe young professionals are moving into, or young families, or whatever the case may be, you need to set the stage for that buyer. You're going to have it look different than I would if I were staging a 55 and over community. We're looking at different sets of buyers. We're looking at what they're attracted to and making sure that that is what they see in the photos and when they walk in the home. Okay. Know who your buyer is and set your house up accordingly. That way, they want to come see the house. Now, with the online marketing, one thing I can tell you for sure is that you have to be hitting multiple platforms. And if you're listening in a different area and I am not going to be your listing agent, you want to make sure that they are still doing it even on LinkedIn, for example. You want the videos and everything out on YouTube. You want it to be out there in next door. You want it to be in all the places where your agent can market, and even within their own private Facebook groups and marketing groups for their brokerage. It needs to get out there. Just because you put something on MLS doesn't mean it's going to hit all of the social media platforms. And social media, a lot of times, is where people from even across the country are finding homes that are attractive to them. And now they're pinging an agent here to say, can you tell me more about this property? And y'all, I have had out of state buyers purchase homes sight unseen because they saw something online. It does happen. So you have to be ready across all of those platforms. So, yeah, having it in different forms, making sure that your agent has it in both static photo, what we also call carousel form, what we call reels, which are mini videos, and so forth. So, if you're not familiar with all that, that's not your job. That is your agent's job to understand. But what you want to do when interviewing an agent is make sure that they are hitting all of the social media platforms, that they are positioning your home in front of buyers across the country and so forth. And ask them, are they running any social media ads for you? Are they putting it out there into more places so that it gets seen by more eyes? The truth is, and the truth will always be, if they want to see it, they will, right? So when it hits MLS and pushes to Zillow, the people who have searches set up for that criteria of your home, they're going to get the notification. And then they may save it on Zillow, may come to the open house and so forth. So having it out there multiple ways will just get more eyes on it. But if they see it and let's say it matches their criteria, but they don't actually get to the house, now we have to wonder, if everything else looks great about the house, if you're making it picture perfect, but now you're not getting any showings or very few showings in an area that's popular, now we have to think about, is it the listing price? We started this conversation about listing price, and I'm going to end it on listing price. And I will absolutely die on this hill that as soon as you overprice your home, you are shooting yourself in the foot. You really need to use all of the data points to set it accordingly, because a lot of times, and I'm going to say like 90% of the time, when you lower that price, a buyer's mentality is that they're going to come in and offer you even lower than what you've lowered it to. And you could be very disappointed. Had you started at a price that I suggested, the chances of you getting what you actually listed it at or better, that's typically good based on the data that we see. I'm always going to use data to suggest a listing price. And I'll tell you what, man, my sellers right now, they will all vouch for the data that I present them with and the system that we use to get them under contract in 3 days. Now, if you do get offers that are way lower even than you've just lowered it to, now you have to start doing the math and understand like what the carrying costs are for you to continue with this home versus a $5,000 difference between where you're at and where the buyers want to be, even if it's 10,000. You need to start doing that math. It's not going to feel good. I understand that. However, it's time to get real about pricing on your home. So, if you are getting ready to go on the market, if you want the data like I was reading to you from MLS and want to know specific to your neighborhood what the strategy would be for pricing your home and so forth, let me know. I do this every week for lots of different sellers, and I am happy to assist you. The most important thing is that you be given the information so that you can make the best educated decision for yourself and your success. So until the next seller workshop next month, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to watch all of the other seller videos that I have in my seller playlist. And if you have any questions, drop them in the DM or in the comments below. Send me a DM, and I look forward to seeing you next time.